Hi, Sarah. It's Matt Lewis. Hey, I just wanted to send you this quick video to go over different loan options that will be available for you guys. As I mentioned in the video that I sent the other day when I was in Utah, I'm now in front of my computer back here in Florida. And I figured this would be a lot easier way for me to go over the loan estimate with you line by line and give you a couple of different options that would be available to you. A lot of times what loan officers will do is just send you a loan estimate and then you can't read it. You don't do this every day, and I completely understand that. And then what people will do is they'll just look at the bottom line and say, well, that's not being charged a lot, or hey, that's being charged too much. But you got to actually know what's being charged, because the bottom line is not necessarily what you want to look at. You got to look at the whole picture, and that's part of my job, is to explain that to you. So not only do you understand, you feel comfortable in what you're getting into. And I'm going to explain a couple different options to you here. And also, to answer your question about your husband going on loan, if your husband is employed, then it would possibly be beneficial to him going on the loan. And what I mean by that is, if his credit score is lower than yours, then we take the middle of the two credit scores. So your middle score, let's say, is a 745, but let's say your husband's a 680. Then when it comes to lending for a home loan, it goes off the lower of the two people going on the loan. We're going to use your husband's 680 credit score. That's could be beneficial if his score's higher, but him having employment is going to be the big thing, because with your current debt obligations, and I can see that most of those debt obligations are both you and your husband, it's joint on your credit, it could affect the numbers in qualifying, and it could actually mess things up a little bit. And so my suggestion would be, we could try, but it may not be beneficial. What's going to be the big beneficial thing to adding your husband is the actual title to the property. Title is actually the big thing, because if something should ever happen to you, knock on wood, the house would not go to probate through the state of Florida, and your husband has a right to the property first. That's going to be the big thing. I've had people who've gone on as his husband and wife, and only one gone on title. Something's happened to that person, and now the house has to go through probate within the state. It takes a really long time. It has to go through court. It's a big deal. I would highly suggest adding your husband onto title. Also, second reason why is because of the Homestead Act here in Florida. Here in Florida, something we call the Homestead Act is basically when you're in a property after a full year and it's your primary residence, you can then file that within the state as your primary residence and get a tax deduction up to $50,000 off your tax assessment of your house. That's going to lower your taxes quite a bit. So adding them on title is going to be the big thing that you want to do. I'm going to go into detail on some of these things with the loan estimate so that you can fully understand exactly what's being charged and how, and then give you a couple of options and show you the difference in payment between the two. So here on a loan estimate, there's going to be essentially an itemized of everything that's going to be charged, and I'll go over everything here. So here is your loan estimate. Now, if you've actually been following interest rates, I don't know if you have or have not over the last month or so, everything has been going up. There's been a lot of economic news that's come out. The stock market's up. People are buying houses still. Rates have gone up over the last probably 2 weeks, about an eighth, anywhere as high as 0.25%. There's a little bit of a fluctuation. So I know you received a loan estimate from the builder before. The loan's not locked. That's exactly the term, loan estimate, because it's based on the market for that day. I can guarantee you that some of those fees and some of those rates have changed. So that's why I'm here to explain those to you as well. So here you'll see your loan amount, $237,813. That's your purchase price with 5% down, assuming a 4% 30-year fixed rate. This is going to be your principal and interest only of $1,135.86. There's no prepayment penalty, and there's no balloon payment. And a balloon payment is essentially a mortgage where a note or the payment is due in full after a certain period of time. For example, 10 years. So you could be on a 10-year balloon. You're making your payments for the first 10 years, and all of a sudden on your 10th year anniversary, you're going to get a letter from your lender that says, guess what? Your remaining balance is now due in full. That's called a balloon payment, and this is not a balloon. Here is your estimated, again, principal and interest of $1,135.36. And then also down here is your property taxes. Now, property taxes right now, because it is new construction, are going to be estimated at 1.25% of the loan amount, the purchase price, and then also the homeowner's insurance that we've also included, as well as other because you have PMI on the loan. So that's the total between all of those. So here are your estimated closing costs of $94.44. How I get that number is what the title company had sent over to me. Now, what I didn't like about that estimate that you got from the builder's lender is there were some missing numbers in there that were not disclosed to you, and I had a problem with that. And so I'm going to go over here over everything. So here right now is your estimated cash to close of $10,561. That includes that does not include, the $5,000 you've already put down as non-refundable. So you have to add that on top, and I'm going to go over these numbers with you in detail. So here are the lender fees. The only thing that I have is my underwriting fee, which is $975. There's no other lender fees. There's no application. There's no processing. There's no origination points. As you can see, it's blank here, so it's not like I'm charging 1% origination on top of that. It's just a flat $975. We do have to have an appraisal done on the property. That ranges anywhere between $400 up to $550. It just depends on how quickly we need to have the appraisal back, the location of the property as well. I'm estimating to be $450 because we're going to be ordering that in plenty of time. And then under here, under C, are the title fees that are being charged. I match these up with what the title company has sent to me. Again, I'm going to send a copy of these loan estimates that I'm going to go over with you, as well, again, as a title fees that they had sent to me, so you can see that. So there's all sorts of little title recording fees, endorsements, settlement fees. These are all regulated by the state of Florida. So these are pretty typical. Lender's title insurance is the homeowner's is the title insurance on your property, on your side of the transaction. And basically what that is it prevents any liens against a property from the first mortgage being recorded in place. So for example, let's say you buy this house and all of a sudden something pops up that there was an unpaid claim for. Let's say a construction lien of some type, like somewhere on the construction company didn't get paid for building something on the house, and they file a lien against the property because they're unpaid. What title insurance does is it goes in and actually pays that claim, and it prevents that claim from being in first lien position. So the mortgage is always going to be in first lien position. And the reason why, of course, is if you should ever sell, refinance, or pay off the house early, the lender is going to want their money first before anybody else. So when you add up all those title fees of $21.27 plus also the $975 underwriting fee and the $450 appraisal fee, that's where this number comes up to play, the $35.52. Then there's some other recording fees that are charged within the state of Florida. Now, this is pretty much a Florida thing. In Utah, the recording fees are not nearly as high as this. But again, this is just the state of Florida, because the state of Florida does charge a recording fee per page of everything that you sign and any document that gets filed on county recorder record. So this is normally a lot lower within the state of Utah. That's why I said originally that buying a house in Florida is a little more expensive than buying a house in Utah. But that's the culmination of the recording fees that not only the state but the county charges. Under prepaids, that's your escrow account that will pay your taxes and your insurance automatically. You mentioned to me that you got a quote for about $600 a year. They're going to collect that insurance policy up front and pay that for you automatically. And then the prepaid interest is a daily interest that's recorded on your loan. So if we're closing on the 26th, the loan will fund a record, then there's going to be 4 days left in the month. That's why there's 4 days of interest. If we close earlier in the month, there's going to be less days. If there's going to be more days if we close at the end of if you close on the first of the month, they're going to collect the full 30 days. Here, I actually put 15 days instead of 4. I'm sorry, I was looking at the interest rate. This number is going to go down because if we close on the 26th, it's just going to collect from the 26th of the month. So when we close in February, if your first payment is not due on March the 1st, it'll be due on April the 1st. It's called paying in arrears. Unlike rent, when you make your rent payment, you're paying going forward. When you make your mortgage payment, you're actually paying backwards. So when you make your first payment on April the 1, you're really technically not paying April 1's mortgage. You're really paying March's mortgage. You're always paying, like I said, in arrears. And then down here under payment at closing for initial escrow, this is create what's called a cushion. And a cushion is basically if your mortgage should ever get adjusted, let's say your property taxes should ever go up, your homeowner's insurance should ever go up, there's always going to be this little bit of cushion in your escrow account to make sure there's not a shortage or a balance due. It actually happened on my house in Salt Lake where My property taxes actually went up quite a bit from 2014 to 2015. I actually had a shortage in my account, and my servicer actually sent me a letter saying, "Hey, you owe us about $400. You can either pay us the $400 right now, or you can make up those payments in installments." I just paid the $400 all at once, but this is to prevent that from happening. It's really rare, and of course, I was one of the people that it happened to. So under H, this is going to be your HOA dues paid up front. They do charge an HOA fee of 2 months right here. The second quarter doesn't mean anything. That just means that they're collecting 2 months of HOA up front, and then there's a capital contribution and an HOA transfer fee. HOA transfer fee is to transfer the HOA from the seller, in this case the builder, to you, the buyer. Capital contribution, let's put it this way, it's a nice fancy term for saying we're going to collect additional escrow in case you ever not stop paying on it. That's really what it is. It's really nothing special. It's actually pretty frustrating that they charge it. I have a condo in Utah, and they charge the same thing for me. Prorated HOA dues, that's additional 1 month that they're going to collect with the HOA. So add that plus the second quarter. And then title is your owner's policy. So on a new construction in Florida, they do make you they do make you pay for the seller's title policy. If you're buying an existing home, you would only be paying your lender's title insurance, but on a new construction, they require you to pay both sides. That's where that 363 is. So when you add in all the other costs, all these right together, that comes up to $59.92. And then when you add in the $59.92 plus all these of $35.52, the total closing cost is $95.44. Now the seller is paying $6,500 out of that $95.44. So when you take the $95.44 minus $6,500, that leaves a balance due of $3,044. The down payment of $12,517, that's 5% of the purchase price, and you've already put down $5,000. So you have to put in $12,517 no matter what. But here's how the numbers work. So $95.44 plus your 5% down payment of $12,517 is $22,016. You've already put down $5,000, and the seller is contributing $6,500. That leaves a balance of $10,561. It matches up with your estimated cash to close. Now here's what you can do. Option A is you can bring in that $10,561 and call it a day. You could do that. That's option A. Now by doing option A, okay, I'm going to go back, and this is a software that I use to take a mortgage application. Here's your estimated payment of $1,529.88, and that's for your tax insurance, homeowners insurance, taxes, mortgage insurance, and that $48 HOA is $1,529. So right now you're at $1,529.88 with bringing in that additional money. What you can do is this: you can increase the interest rate to 4.25%, which is of course is going to raise your overall mortgage payment, but it only raises it to $1,564.42. It's a difference of $34.54. Now, if you go back and remember the dollar amount on that loan estimate, okay, remember what I said, that the loan estimate and the difference in payment between what the seller's paying in closing costs and what you need to bring to close. So if you remember, your minimum is $12,517. You've already put down $5,000. So you have to bring in $75.17 minus $10,586. So $3,069. By increasing the rate 0.25%, I can do what's called a lender credit, and that's right here under this box J. You'll see a lender credit and a negative number, and I can lender credit you that difference in funds, so that the only thing you need to bring to close is just your remaining 5%, which would be, of course, the $7,517. This number would go down to match that number. Now, as I mentioned, the difference of payment is $34.54. That's the difference between 4% and 4.25%. Now, here's what it looks like after all the numbers are all said and done. So 12,517 minus what you already put down, minus 10. Okay, so it's $3,069. So if you take $3,069, divide that by the difference in payment of $34.54, the difference between 4% and 4.25%, it's 88 payments, rounded up to 89. So 89 mortgage payments divided by 12 months in a year is almost 7.5 years. So essentially, you're going to have to stay in the house for nearly 7.5 years, and that was what it would take to recoup that difference in payment. Now, if your game plan is to be in the house longer than 7.5 years, I would suggest bringing in that additional funds and take the lower rate. If you're not sure, or if you're not planning on being in the house for 7.5 years, then I would take the higher rate and just do the lender credit just to have you bring in the rest of your down payment. That would be my suggestion. But that's totally up to you. If you guys want to talk about that, we have plenty of time. I know we're not looking to close for a little more than 30 calendar days, but that would be my suggestion, to just look at what you're planning to do and let the numbers roll with that. And that's why I said in the beginning, it's not necessarily what the bottom line is, oh, that's a good deal, that's not a good deal. What you want to look at is the whole scope of what you're looking to do. I don't know what your guys' exact time frame is. I'll leave that up to you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you this estimate, and then I'm also going to send you a second estimate with that slightly higher rate with that lender credit, so that it shows your estimated cash to close to be your 5% minus the $5,000 you already put down. I'm also going to send you again the title quote that they gave me, showing a breakdown of all the fees, so you can see that in writing as well. If you have any other questions, just let me know. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.